Welcome to SHIP Virtual Garden Club. I'm Liz Callan, the SHIP Culinary and Garden Educator, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. We're going to be starting our tomatoes and our peas. So find your tomato seeds. They're in this little bag. They're very, very hard to see. They're teeny. And find your pea seeds. These are your pea seeds. So these are two really different kinds of seeds. And actually these seeds are from different plant families. So tomatoes are in the nightshade plant family, or the Solanaceae, and they are in the plant family along with peppers and eggplants and tomatillos. And peas are in the legume plant family with beans. And also, peas are a cool season crop. That means that they grow best in the early spring and in the fall, and peas can actually be outside when it goes below freezing a little bit. Tomatoes are a warm season crop, and they cannot handle the frost at all. So if it goes below 32 degrees, tomatoes will die. So we have to start these indoors for sure. And tomatoes come from the tropics, so that makes sense. So let's start out with our tomato seeds. These little tomato seeds are Sun Gold cherry tomatoes. They're my favorite cherry tomato. They are a yellow or orange cherry tomato, so super sweet. I think you'll really love them. And they're actually a hybrid, and that means that the parents of these seeds were two different tomato plants. One was probably a sturdy rootstock plant, and the other had a really sweet fruit, but wasn't maybe quite as sturdy. So they combined the pollen from the two parent tomatoes and came up with this seed. Which means a hybrid means that if you were to save the seeds once these plants grow, you could plant them and you'll grow tomatoes, but you won't get Sun Gold cherry tomatoes back again. So find your two little plant cell containers, and these are made out of, they're peat containers or pressed cardboard, so these are biodegradable. We could put them in the compost pile. And grab your bag of soil, and I'm just going to use a container to moisten the soil. So I'm just going to take a little bit of soil and I'm going to grab my mister and add a little bit of water to it. We don't want to make it too moist, but we don't want it completely dry either. Stir that up. And then we're going to fill our little pots with this potting soil. Now we're going to carefully take our little tomato seeds out, and we're going to put 3 in each of these little pots. I dumped mine out so that I could actually get them out. They're very, very small. So we're going to put 3 in each little plant cell here. And kind of spread them out in the plant cell. They look like that. And then we're going to put a little bit of soil on top just to cover them. Pat that down just a little bit so that they're pressed into the soil and touching the soil. And let's talk a minute about seeds. Seeds are actually alive. Seeds are baby little plants curled up and waiting to sprout. And what actually makes them sprout? Well, the first thing is that they need water. So we can take our mister and we'll water them. And the water is going to hydrate or moisten the seed coat around the seed and soften it up so that the little embryo inside can start poking out. And the embryo is the very beginning of the seed. That's the little piece of root and the little stem and the first little leaf that's going to come out. And then inside the seed also is the cotyledon leaves. And those are the seed leaves. And they're like plump little fat leaves that come out first that don't photosynthesize much. They really just feed the plant so it can get started and grow its true leaves. So the seed is made up of the embryo and the seed coat around it and the cotyledon leaves or seed leaves. So how do seeds get started in the first place? Well, flowers pollinate, and in many plants a fruit starts to grow. So in a tomato, a fruit starts to grow, and then inside the seeds mature. And so lots of plants that we actually call vegetables are, botanically speaking, technically a fruit. So that would include peppers and cucumbers and zucchini and winter squash. And the seeds contain all of the genetic information of their parents right inside that seed so that they can grow and be the same as their parents, or in the hybrid's case, the same as 2 of the parents. And their seeds are also really strong. They can be planted 5 times their width, and when they sprout, they have enough energy to push up through the soil. But they can't be planted too deep, or they won't have enough energy to get up to the top of the soil. So what about germination? Germination really just means seed sprouting. So what do our little seeds need to grow? We know that they need water, so we're misting them. They also need warmth. Seeds really can't germinate or sprout when it's really, really cold. And tropical plants like tomatoes really need warmth. So these are going to grow best between 65 to 85 degrees, and that's about the temperature of a home. But you can also put them on a heating pad if you want, or maybe on top of your fridge where it's warm. So seeds need the water, they need warmth, and they need air, and they're going to have plenty of air. And then as soon as they start to pop up, when you just barely see the tiniest little white piece of stem starting to come out, they need light. So we don't have to put them in a sunny window right now. We could. We can also put them in a warmer place that we might have. But as soon as we begin to see anything popping up, they have to immediately go into a sunny window so they can start photosynthesizing and making their own energy. And also so that they don't stretch out searching and searching for light and get tall and spindly and weak. All right, so every day we have to check our little seeds to see if they're coming up, see if they need some water, and make sure they're still nice and warm. So now let's label our tomato. Let's write down Sun Gold and the date. Then we're going to put our plastic bag on top to make a little greenhouse to keep the moisture in and keep the warmth in. I'm going to stick that right on top. And once the tomatoes sprout, we can take the little greenhouse off. I'm going to stick mine on top of a little container lid to hold in the water. And I'm also going to put a little water in my container lid because then my plant can soak up water from below, stay nice and hydrated. Okay, so now I'm all set. I'm going to put this in a warm place, either a sunny window to start, because we don't want to miss the chance to have the light start to hit it as soon as it comes up. But if my sunny window is kind of cold, I might have a warmer place in my house I could put this. Okay, now let's do our peas. These peas are called Sugar and Snap peas. So snap peas are those ones that are those chubby, crunchy peas that you get that when you eat the whole entire pea pod, and they're so sweet and nice. And Sugar Ann is a variety that is really fast. We should be able to start picking peas in about 51 days. So that's about a month and 3 weeks. And they are kind of short, so these shouldn't get too tall. We're going to be planting our peas in our nice 3-gallon size fabric pot, so the smaller of your fabric pots. And peas germinate at slightly cooler temperatures than tomatoes, so they can germinate 65 to 75 degrees, which means that we could germinate them inside the house, and then as soon as they pop up, we could take them outside. They don't mind if it freezes. So once the peas have germinated and sprouted, then if the temperatures drop pretty cold, the peas will be fine. But to speed up the germination, we can germinate them inside, unless you're having a really warm day, and you can germinate them outside too. One cool thing about peas is that, and all legumes, beans and clover, is that their roots live together in association with an inoculant bacteria. So you have a little bag of stuff that looks like black soil, but it's actually a bacteria, and it's called rhizobia. And what happens is these rhizobia bacteria live with the roots of legumes, and they live with the roots, and they give the roots nitrogen that they're taking from the air and the soil. So they're giving peas and beans and clover and alfalfa free fertilizer. And what they get in exchange is some sugar from the plant's roots. So it's a symbiotic relationship between the rhizobia and the peas. So we're going to inoculate these peas with our rhizobia. Well, I have a clover here to show you how this looks in the roots, because clover is a legume too, and it's really, really hard to see. But you may have to take my word for it, but there are little nodules on these roots, little tiny round balls, and inside those nodules is where these rhizobia bacteria are living. So once our pea grows and we finish picking peas, we can actually pull the pea up and we would be able to see the nodules if the rhizobia were living in there. Let's take about 6 of our peas and we're going to put them in this bag with our rhizobia. And we're going to just give it a little mist of water just so that the rhizobia will stick. And then we can kind of shake the peas around. Once the peas kind of turn a little bit black, we know that we've got the bacteria on them. Okay, we're going to save the rest of these peas for next week. And we didn't do it, but just so you know, one thing you can do with peas and bigger seeds like this is you can soak them for half a day or a whole day to let that seed coat start to soften up a little quicker, and that will speed up germination. So now, let's fill up our bag with soil. We're going to use our potting soil. We're going to save enough potting soil for the 2 peat pots for our other weeks. So use most of your soil, but not all of it. Now we're going to add a little bit of water to moisten the soil. Just add a little bit at a time so you don't overdo it. Take your trowel and stir that around. And feel it with your fingers and see if it needs a little bit more water. Okay, now it's time to plant the peas. Let's get our 6 seeds out covered with the rhizobium. And this rhizobia bacteria is not bad for us or anything. This is a beneficial or good bacteria. So you can touch this. And remember, seeds can be planted up to 5 times their width. So we'll plant these a little bit deeper than tomatoes. And I'm just going to spread them out inside my pot. I'm going to make 6 holes. And the holes are going to be maybe 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch or so deep. Stick those in there and then cover them up. And press the soil down on top so they can start sucking up that moisture. And then we can spritz them. Okay, so we can put this pea bag either outside if it's warm in a sunny spot, or we can keep it inside until we just begin to see the first pea poke up, and then we should put it outside or by a sunny window so it can start to get some light and photosynthesize. And I'm going to put mine on top of, while it's inside anyway, I'm going to put it on top of this bag to catch any extra water that might come out. So the most important thing with these peas is to make sure that they stay moist while they're trying to germinate. And then as soon as they come up, they need to either go by a sunny window or outside. Let's write a tag. So we'll write Sugar Ann and the date. Now we can do one more quick thing with our pea seeds, which is just fun. Let's get out your baggie and your paper towel piece. And we're going to moisten the paper towel and we're going to do a germination test. So this is just an experiment where you take a couple of pea seeds. Let's take maybe 2 or 3 and put them on this paper, and we're just going to give the seeds the water and the warmth and of course the air that they need. And we're going to watch and see if they sprout. And this is a great thing to do with seeds that you've saved from another year that you're not sure if they're still good. So you can do this with any kind of seed. We're just going to roll the paper towel up just like this and stick it in a little bag. And then you can check on it every couple of days. And you can watch to see which part of the seed comes out first, or how many of the seeds germinate, or if any germinate at all. And you can use your extra popsicle stick to put down your seed, Sugar Ann, and your date again. So once these little seeds just start to poke up, you can actually take them and plant them into the soil with your pot if you want to. When they get a little bit big, then don't worry about it. It's just an experiment just to watch and see. So great job, everybody. We've gotten our tomatoes started and we planted our peas in a container that's actually going to go outside. And now what we have to do during this week is just make sure everything has water, it's nice and warm where it's germinating, and that as soon as we see any bit of the plant coming up, they have to have light. So if you don't have them in the sun right to start, then they move to a sunny spot. All right, great. See you next time. Bye.